Here we go, we're live. Woo! Woo! It's football season. The song finally works. The producer's not making me change the song. This week, tomorrow night, first game. We're rolling it out. Welcome to the GovCast. How's everybody doing? Dre came back from her bachelorette party.
I'm back.
I'm celebrating my 20th anniversary. A lot of big things happening around here. A lot of big things happening around here on this show.
Stephen, what are you celebrating?
Today?
Yeah.
No. Next, October 3rd. What are you celebrating? October 3rd.
October 3rd?
What are you celebrating October 3rd?
I don't know. What am I missing here?
The beginning of the shows have been very choppy lately. Last week, Kelly was 20 minutes late. Steve's not on point. What are you celebrating? It was an easy question. She said, what are you celebrating? You said, today?
All right, anyway.
Dre, I can see Steve hasn't had his coffee yet. Welcome back for your nope, you missed your chance. Welcome back to your bachelorette party. Give me the top. Dre's bachelorette party, your husband's bachelor party, everyone returned home safe. Best PG-13 story you got.
Well, there were a lot of really great moments. First of all, I went to Scottsdale. If you haven't been, I totally recommend it. It was beautiful. The food was all delicious, and it was really cool because the views were beautiful. There's a lot of mountains, the desert, a lot of cacti. No, well, I told you I flipped my ATV, so that was memorable. But I'm okay. I'm alive. So
how did you flip it though? Like, you going downhill? You cut the wheel and go over?
I think I have PTSD. So first of all, there were 10 of us to start the group, and then we have to go do the little like trial run just to go up this little hill and down. Well, it wasn't little. All of a sudden I look around, I'm like, where's all my friends? 5 of them backed out. So 5 of them didn't go. And so, well, because
they're not like parachuting. You're driving an ATV.
No, it was hard. There's no like disclaimer about this being like a beginner course, it was an extreme level like course because you go up literal mountains. There's no sides where you're going. It was just scary. So I was going up a mountain and I saw this like big gap, and I just figured, let me just try to floor it and I'll make it up it. And I didn't. So,
did the ATV roll on top of you?
No, I was like Superwoman, I heard. I don't remember. So I was like, I literally flipped back like this, Yeah. And then all of a sudden I just remember falling back and just screaming and like seeing it kind of falling down. And then my friend who was behind me saw me put my arms up and my legs up, and then it like touched and then landed on the side of me. So.
Wow. Is the ATV company, are they empathetic and sympathetic, or upset that you wrecked their ATV?
They did, honestly. So I laid there for a while until they got the paramedic. Paramedic came. And then they drove me back. He just gave me ice for my back, and then he left. He never came back. I think that they can't be overly sympathetic, because if there was to be a lawsuit, then you could kind of use that against them.
You signed a waiver before you got on?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You signed away your kids at that point. Right?
Yeah, so at that point. But it's okay. I'm okay.
Wow. That's not like a bachelor party coming home fun. And her soon-to-be husband went to Vegas, so we're going to leave that off the show.
So I'm glad you're okay. It was scary.
Jeezy peasy. I'm celebrating my 20th anniversary today. So 20 years, crazy. It's amazing. We were just talking about it before the show. So I just went and got my haircut this morning. The guy says, hey, I'm celebrating my 10th anniversary. We're going to renew our vows. I go, and he had I'm in Maryland. I'm in the Eastern Shore of Maryland. He had Raven stuff all around his mirror, when you're getting at the barbershop. And I said, well, listen, I got a good story for you. At my 10th, we did the same thing at my 10th anniversary. And that was the year, if you remember, the NFL was on strike, and Ray Lewis owned a home down in South Florida, which was literally less than a mile from where we were doing our 10-year anniversary. And so the lady who did the event actually set up, and Ray Lewis came by our event. It was a 10. He was super nice. He was supposed to stay for like an hour. He went up staying for like 3 hours. He had dinner. He stayed. It was amazing. And so I took out I was like, look at all the pictures I have with Ray Lewis. So cool.
So cool.
Yeah, it was great. And so this year, we're just going out to dinner. Low key, we're getting old, can't move as quick. So we're just heading out to dinner in Ocean City, Maryland. So thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the love.
That's great. Jack, can you give, Andre, newlywed, like some advice? How do you last 20 years? Like,
Dre and I already shared clicks this morning. Listen, I would just share everyone that's been married. Marriage is wonderful, but marriage is also a job, right? And so I went into marriage really naively because I thought I'm overly rational. I'm like, I'll have an opinion and she'll have an opinion. We'll just talk it out and then reach some agreement. Well, no, it's not like that at all. And so those who've been married, and so I think it's just you have to decide what is it? Happy wife, happy life, or you gotta what is it? You gotta pick the things you want to be. Oh, what's the one you want to be?
Battles.
What's that?
Pick your battles.
No, you want to be right or you want to be happy, right? And so I think those are real things. I think the best thing I saw online was if you're not gonna remember it in 5 years, if it's not relevant 5 years from now, you should let it go. That's probably my best advice, Steve. So there you go. If you're not, if it's not, especially when you have
5 years, let it go.
Yeah, especially when you have kids. You think about it and you're like, this school project or something, and you're like, am I gonna remember that? No. Then you just let it go. So amen.
Good advice.
Yeah. So I'm not sure I'm the best one to give out marriage advice, but that's the best I got. So Steve, you want to add? That's what Dre was talking about. Look, she's bachelorette. I got 20. You got something you want to throw in? Again, now you've had a little time. You're warmed up now. We're 5 minutes in.
Warmed up. Yeah. So earlier I was just looking to see who, because we were talking football season, see who the Eagles were playing their first game of the season. So it's the Niners. So that's what I was checking out. But what's that?
No, I'd say Ravens Monday night, Vegas. First time ever live people in the Vegas stadium.
Oh, yeah, and that new stadium out there. Yeah, it should be fun. As far as me celebrating, next month, you mentioned October, but November will be my 9-year anniversary. So I don't know where you were going with the earlier statement. That's all I was trying to figure out.
There you go. You thought I had no idea. I'm shooting darts right now.
Okay, yeah. So November will be a big anniversary for me. 9 years with the company, GovSpend.
Amen. Look, November 26th, we're doing a little in-house trivia. Steven, our first employee we hired, November 26, 2012, when Steven started. It's funny, I did this little trivia. This is too much information, but I did a trivia thing inside the company. I'm like, give me the person who started, our first employee, and the day they started. So salespeople, being very literal, were like, Steve and Brian, Monday. I'm like, no, that's right.
That's a smart thinker right there.
I literally got of 200 employees, I literally got 30 of them going, Steve and Brian, Monday. I'm like, no, I'm not looking for Monday.
8 days a week.
So funny. I see Matt Knopp out there saying that Broncos are going to beat the Ravens. So you just back off with your college football hype. All right, there. Great college football weekend. Then we got one more. Listen, before we bring on our guest, Steve, you want to talk about the webinar you got coming?
Yeah. We actually moved the webinar date, so it's going to be the 22nd now. Oh, yeah, the slides updated. Perfect. So we were going to have it on the 15th, but starting this month with like the holiday, Labor Day. Hopefully everyone had a good, safe Labor Day. But we're going to do it September 22nd. It's called Need a Hand, Technology and Resources to Win Sales. So we added that word free resources because there are some free sites out there that you can use. There are some paid sites. So we want to be unbiased and just tell you about all the resources that are available out there. One big one that I'm sure Hamza is going to talk about, is sam.gov. It's a great resource to have. It's absolutely free. People will try to charge you. I think our guest last week said, paid $5,000 to sign up on this. It's a free website. You don't need to pay anybody. So we're going to look out for your best interest and help you out on the 22nd at 12 noon Eastern time. So just go to our website. You can see it right there, GovSales University. Click the webinar thing at the top, fill out your info. It's completely free to attend, and we'll be there to hook you up. And we're also giving away this is the biggest giveaway we ever done. Something that costs $10,000. So tune in. You can go for free, and we're giving away $10,000.
What are you giving away? What are you giving away?
This is big. It aligns with resources and technology. So you got to tune in to get there. So fill out the registration and learn more of the 22nd.
GSU must have a big budget because like each of the webinars we do,
I
think like, oh, this is the biggest. Oh, no, this is the biggest. Oh, my God. Now you're up to $10,000. That's
the biggest candy bar we did give away was like a 50-pound Hershey bar.
It wasn't worth $10,000. It wasn't worth $10,000.
Yes.
The webinar will be great. Listen, for audience. Yeah, it'll be literally everything we're aware of from a resource perspective, both technology and vendors. And so probably a great lead into today's guest. So we'd love to bring in Hamza Sabree. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming in, CEO of Global Connect. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. Doing great. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
thanks for coming on the show. I think that was a great lead-in. I do, like Stephen was talking, I'm like, this is a great lead-in. So thank you. As you can see, Hamza is the CEO of Global Connect. So why don't you tell folks a little bit about your background and your company?
All right, so my name is Hamza Sabree. I'm the CEO of Global Connects. We are a world-class government contracting consulting firm where we provide services and products to the government. And also we create a bridge to assist small business to enter into the government industry as well. Yes. So I got into it a very interesting way. I became a project manager for a construction company. Actually didn't know anything about construction, by the way. Specialized in demolition, asbestos, remediation.
I love that. Look, we specialize in demolition. You're like, we knock it down. Look, we're all experts in that part.
Yeah. So I was at a point where I wanted to learn. So in order for me to grow, I got to get outside my comfort zone. So, I jazzed up a nice little resume and went for an opportunity to become a project manager for a construction company. Landed the opportunity. So long nights, early mornings, studying blueprints, takeoffs, things of that nature, understanding asbestos remediation, going to different courses and stuff like that at night. The owner came up to me, the company, said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we do 100% of our business with the government, so you're gonna need to learn the FAR." And a stack of big old papers right there on the desk. So I'm scratching my head like, okay, first of all, what is the FAR? Because, and what do you mean you only do business with the government? So I got 2,038 pages stacked up to the ceiling, and yes, my crazy behind read every last page. Studying, understanding the federal acquisition regulations. That's what the FAR stands for. Those are all the laws and clauses mandated with government contracting. And I saw a lot of different ways and different clauses that affected small business, how they could tap into government contracting opportunities. Long story short, with me working with that company for 10 months, we procured over $1.6 million in federal, state, local government contracts and demolition, asbestos, mold remediation, doing business on the federal level, state, and local. The owner put me to the side and said, pretty much you're a madman. I want you to train other people your unorthodox ways of procuring government contracts. And that's what I did for the next 4 months. And I realized that this is a special niche I have. I want to start freelancing, offer these services to other small businesses, and remittance. I get paid a percentage of the contract value for offering the services of securing the government contract for qualified businesses. And that's where everything launched off from consulting. And the dope part about it is that I was securing government contracts for other businesses before I even won my first contract.
Yeah.
So that was the most part and valuable part. I understood the paperwork process of government contracting, understanding the procurement process, and understanding my customer, which is the world's largest purchaser.
Oh yeah, that's our line. Yeah, the government's largest prospect in the world. So can you talk about, listen, when you run into somebody, right? They're like, oh, I'm interested in doing some work with the government. Like, where do you start with them? Like, what's your best advice? Where does Global Connect start with them, and kind of how do you start the process?
Well, we start the process from understanding the business. All right. So my line I love to say is find your niche, then get rich. Your business have a niche. It needs to have some type of service or product that you can provide value to your customer, because that's what the main thing the government wants. They want honesty, integrity, and smart work. So if you're able to be competent and focus on what you're able to execute, because the government purchases everything out there. And you look at stuff, they want pens from paper pens to cars, to different type of moving services, janitorial services, all over the place. So you have to have your business first.
Yes.
Then we can go to the customer. And that's the most hard part for businesses is not understanding who their customer is. We did the hard part already. We know who our customer is, and we know they spend a lot of money every year. So find your niche, and then we strategically come up with a plan to market our business to the government, because through my statistics and research, 93% of government contracts go to companies that are actively marketing. So that should let you know that it's more than just sitting or throwing something on the wall to see. So I use a lot of the calls from the FAR to implement with other small businesses. From a very strong, advantageous point of securing a government contract, because most people think that it's hard red tape, but it's really just paperwork. And it's like, if you want to get to the bag, you cannot say that you don't want to do the paperwork. That is the meat of business. So that's what I focus on small business, is understand the procurement process, understand your customer, and then know how to implement your business within it.
So how long do you how long does the process typically take? Like once you acquire a client or they come to you, right? You go through this process. Like how long are you normally working with the same client?
Yeah, so everything is run pretty much boutique for our clients that we secure government contracts for. So the clients that we have now, which is 6, right? They renew 2-year contracts with us.
Okay.
So we go through a process of vetting out and making sure that we are able to provide services to your company to create results. Not just taking your client because you're ready to pay, but we're taking on clients that we can actually create results. And that's the most focused thing, because that's where our money is. We get paid on the percentage of the contract value. So we don't take clients in that we can't actually procure government contracts for.
Yeah.
So that process goes to understanding your profile, building out your profile of your business. And then our support team aggregates all the opportunities that fit within your niche. Then also we put in a algorithm of marketing tools to government agencies to get yourself out there, to get your company out there.
Interesting.
What are those? Can you share some of the marketing things you do? I think that's what folks that are in the private sector freak out. Not only they feel like the paperwork, which you mentioned, it's like, how do I get a hold of the people? Like, can you share some of the things without divulging too much of your secret sauce? But like, when you talk about marketing to the government, what does that look like from your perspective?
Well, in the private sector, we talk about marketing. You think Facebook ads, Instagram ads, commercials, banners, billboards, and stuff like that. Spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to market your business. And unfortunately, the government doesn't look at your commercials or Instagram or anything like that and say, oh, we like that company, let's buy from them. 2 words to market into the public industry: capability statement.
Yeah.
Capability statement. It is purely that. It's a statement of your capability. You're stating what you're capable of doing, right? Even if you have never done it before, that doesn't mean that you're not capable of. So I make an example. If I just bought me a lawnmower today, weed whacker, and all of the other essential tools needed for me to cut grass and stuff like that, I'm capable of cutting grass. Well, I've never cut grass ever before. So you got to understand your business is to be marketed in such a way showing your values, your key strengths, your differentiators, what differentiates you from other businesses or competition, and what can you bring to the government at a very high and efficient level.
Yep.
That's how you describe that all in a 1-page document on a capability statement. It's not front and back. It's not 2, 3, 4, 5 different pages. It's a 1-page Word document, and it costs pennies to make.
Yeah.
And you can, and like I say, we turn the white piece of paper into green piece of paper.
It's so funny. I was on a call yesterday, and that was the same thing. What do I do for my capability statement? And put it in perspective, to the private sector, it's like your resume.
Right.
What is it that you want to put up there on the forefront? And I like your point. Keep it to 1 page. That's one of Jack's pet peeves. If he's going through 4 pages during the interview, he's like, come on, like, what is the good stuff? So you just want to bring that to the top, and then structure, like a resume. Some people have this format, that format. You can use different companies, but just bring it to the table. Like, what is it that you've done? And if you haven't done it in the past, what can you do? And that's really it. You don't have to overcomplicate it in any way. If you have some certifications, put it on there. Right? Like, you want to highlight yourself in the best possible way, just like you're trying to get a job, and you are trying to get a job with the government. That's going to pay you very handsomely.
Great money, right?
And work. So I know when we first talked previous to this, Hamza, you were telling me about a contract in Texas that turned to be like a 30-year deal, which I thought was incredible. So I don't even want to share that with the story about how that came across.
That was one of my premier students, Pearl Jones. It's crazy how it started. Before I had launched to social media, just making awareness government contract, I did over 400 1-hour free consultation. She was actually one of the 400, the free 400 consultations that I've done.
Wow.
And when we talked and everything, it was crazy because it was a very tribulation times at that time, because when we was on the call, we lost the call because we went out of power from utility bill not being paid, right? But this is one call, 1 hour, took the information that was January of 2020. Within 90 days, created her business, right? Got the page code, through SAM, got the EIN, and identified a niche, wanted to get into the cleaning business, all right? We worked on this contract for securing it. We saw the opportunity on Unison Marketplace for janitorial cleaning services for Beeville, Texas, for FEMA. Looked at the scope of work, understanding everything, submitted in our proposal. She got awarded a contract. It was a 6-month performance contract, right? So this is her first contract that she ever secured. So, I took a flight straight down to Beeville, Texas to meet with the subcontractors, contractor officers to make sure everything is copacetic, everything's smooth from the beginning. I say when business start off smooth, it ends smooth. When it start off rough, it's going to be one hell of a ride, right? So we was able to cross out the I's efficiently. So in that 6-month performance, right? In that 6-month performance did so well that, most government aid, or not most, but all government buildings, they don't purchase the buildings. They do long-term leases. The government do long-term leases on buildings, right? Shout out to all my real estate agents and brokers out there. That was an opportunity right there too. The length of the lease on the building was about 29 years left, and it was in the middle of nowhere, Texas. That's what I called it, but Beeville, Texas, literally is right behind the federal prison. That's where the FEMA has a practice takeoff and landing airstrip. And in this building of their semi airport, we need to be able to clean everything properly, two times a week for 6 months. After the 6 months evaluation, they pretty much extended the contract for the term of the actual lease on the building, which was another 28 years, 29 years. That's how it turned out to be a 30-year contract. Like,
and that was our first government deal, right?
That was the first government deal, and it had to be a federal contract.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Keep people employed for the next 30 years. Yeah, God bless it. That's amazing.
Right, you got to write that one up. Hamza, can we go back a little bit? So, I think for us, a lot of our folks that wind up watching the show are like, they're milling around, they're thinking about it, and so can you just go back? You talk about, you kind of quickly glossed over it. When did the bell go off for you that, hey, government's a bigger thing? And how did you connect the dots? That's where you wanted to focus your time and energy, because I think everybody hears about it, particularly with COVID, PPE, and then they just kind of, it's almost like crypto. You're either in it or you ignore it, right? So what made you jump in and kind of go all in and realize the opportunity and how big it was? Like, how did you connect the dots instead of run away and hide? You know what I mean?
I connected the dots. I was reading or understanding it through simplified acquisition. All right. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's part 15, section 1603. It speaks on simplified acquisition procedure and unsolicited proposals. Once I start understanding and start doing the research within that, I understood that this government contracting game is more than just submitting in proposals, because I can't stay in business based off of submitting something on the wall and then hoping and praying that it sticks, hoping that I win the government contract. And I don't like to use the terminology win, because it's not a win. We're doing business. It's a transaction. Here, land government contract. This is not a lotto. It's not a scratch off. This is not a raffle ticket, right? And I start realizing that there are other avenues of doing business with the government, start understanding thresholds and stuff like that. So I said, how can I consistently stay in business with government? How can I consistently get purchase orders and contracts? So I said, I want to sell products, right? Because products is normally not off of lowest price, but lowest acceptable price. Most people think that the government, you got to be the cheapest to win. No, you could be so cheap that you scare the customer away.
Yep.
Imagine you're ready to sell me a Rolls-Royce Phantom that's worth about $350,000. You say, hey, you could buy it right now. It has a brand new for $20,000. I'm gonna run away because I'm like,
something's wrong with it.
Oh, we lost your sound.
Oh, yeah. Audio.
We can't hear you, Hamza.
There you go. Oh. Say something.
You can't hear me?
There you go. You're back. There you go. All right. So look, after you ran away from the 20K rolls, go ahead.
Right. So I focused on selling products that were non-reusable. So tissue, paper towels, pens, ink pens, scanner, toner, gloves, masks, even body bags for FEMA. I want to be able to resell products that they always have to pretty much re-up on. Every quarter or every 60 days, 90 days, they can purchase these things. So I focused on that. And I secured my first government contract locally with Clay County Public School System, 1-year base, 3-year option, turned out to be a 4-year contract based on my performance, and for tissue and rat traps. I hope I don't get Clay County in trouble to tell about this.
Listen, can you talk about for audience, because I it's really interesting. You have great energy, and But I think when we started the show, we only did folks that sell to and talk about the government. And I think we fell asleep and the audience fell asleep. So we expanded a little bit. But the thing that frustrates me when I talk to folks that deal with the government, like that we run in, most of them are like, oh, it takes a year, 12 months. You'll never win anything. And so you mentioned the simplified acquisition, and there are a lot of carve outs, and there's a lot of different ways to win government business. So can you share some of your lessons learned? Because again, I think folks hear the red tape, they hear it takes a year, and they get really discouraged. And so can you maybe share some real world stories of how folks you've seen get in much faster than that?
So I have a strategy for local state government contracts, federal as well, for us getting no bid contracts. These are contracts that you're not bidding for. So under the simplified acquisition procedure on a federal level, it states that the government contracting officer agency has the ability to sole source a no bid contract up to $750,000 domestically, $1.5 million internationally if your company is competent, has past performance, and capacity to perform that contract, whether it's product or service.
Yep.
So on a state level, I believe it's $150,000. City, county is $25,000, but it varies.
It does.
Yep.
That was the hack that really created the opportunity of doing business, not bidding, with government agencies on a local level across this map, was understanding that $25,000 and it varies. So that was my open-ended question of communication to purchaser departments, contracting officers, buyer agents, whatever titles that you want to give them. So I will reach out to them and I will say, hey, what is the threshold that has to be met for something to go out as a public notice? So they will respond back with state statutes, city statute, county statute laws that pertains to no contract. So they say, well, Hamza and Mr. Sabree, anything over $40,000 we have to put out as a public notice. So I said, okay, well, anything under $40,000, that means that they don't have to put out for bid, just do business. Yeah. So I said, well, anything, my response is anything under that threshold that falls into my core competencies, please see capability statement attached. Allow my company to give you a competitive price first because we are here to serve you.
Yep.
That one liner right there gives me no bid contract to this day.
Yep.
So true.
It's doing business and staying in front of your customer, because 93% of government contracts go to companies that are actively marketing. 76% of government contracts have 5 or less competitors, and 36% of government contracts only have one response.
Yep.
I've secured government contracts not because I was the lowest price, but because I was the only price.
Yeah. Amen.
So it's a huge market out here of opportunity with a small competitive market in it. And I think people are not aware of how to actually get across the bridge. So I think of my company, Globe Connects, as the bridge for small businesses to get them over to the government contracting world.
Yes.
But what's your advice? So say I'm a company, right? I've been trying to get my foot in the door and I respond to all these bids. So I have 5 bid sites and I'm like, I got it, right? I'm going to win one of these. And I just don't win it. Because we talk to people all the time who say, I've been trying to win these bids and I just keep getting beat. I'm done, right? I'm done with the government.
That's the problem. You're trying to beat a price, right? You can't focus on competition that doesn't even exist because you don't know who's submitting and what. You focus on the customer. So when I say focus on the customer, understand what your customer wants. In the scope of work, SOW, statement of work, or specification of work, that's what your customer is telling you. See, it's one thing to say, hey, I can do this, but it's another thing to say, I can get this. Mm-hmm. Executing the work and getting the work is totally 2 different things. So that's where the procurement process come in at for us, getting the work. You got to identify, understand what your customer wants so you can bring the best value at a great price point to them. We can't focus on beating other customers. We got to focus on what we can do it for and make money and be happy. And that's it. Because when you're submitting in a bid or proposal, it's pretty much in a pre-contract agreement because you're already stating that I'm going to provide you this service or product at this price point and it's good for 30, 45 days. Your customer has to agree. Take 2 to tango, right? Your customer agrees, right? Your customer agrees, then they consummate the deal from there. So it's all business. It's not a bid war. It's not, I got to be the cheapest or I got to be the lowest price. It's just provide value at a great price point because the government wants to purchase from who can offer best value. Offers the best value. See, I can be selling the same water bottle right here, right? And the government say, we want to deliver within 30 days. So one competitor can say, well, we'll provide it in 30 days for $1.50. I say, well, I'm going to provide it to you all for $2, but I'm going to deliver it within 10 days and you're going to get a warranty with it. See, that's value.
Yeah.
So they can make a decision based off that, not just pricing, but the value, how you presented the offer.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what most people miss and understand with the government contracting.
Steven, look at Steven's gloating. He's Steven's like,
Listen, I'm so happy. And when I was watching your YouTube video there, I'm like, this is the guy we have to have on the show, because Jack and I, Dre, we all preach this all the time. And it's good to have that sounding voice, because we teach GovSales University and we talk in chapter 5, the 10 different ways that the government spends. It's actually 80% of the government spending does not go through this bid and RFP. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions. They're like, oh, I'm going to spend all my time filling out paperwork. And then they get discouraged, and then they lose, and then they miss out. And that's why they give up. And it's one of those things is like form relationships, right?
Facts.
People like to work. Like you said, you have to put in the work, call them up, say hello. I can be here for you. I always recommend starting local in your own backyard, because people, it's like a deer in headlights. They're looking this way, that way, because they just followed all these opportunities. But it's like, no, don't overcomplicate it. Your local cities, counties, schools are all like a dartboard, right? Like, where's your home base? A 50-mile radius right around it.
Right.
You start selling close to your home. And that's how you're going to build up your performance. That's going to be easier to get deals. They shop at the same grocery stores as you, right? Like, these are people in the community. Everyone puts the government on this like pedestal, like it's them and us, right? It's we. We all live in this area together. I can help you cut your grass or sell you water bottles or paper clips, you name it, right? It's anything, everything.
Absolutely.
And then just making it easier for them. So I think that hardest part, right, is narrowing the focus of what people want to do. And I love to hear your opinion, because people are like, I'll sell it all. But in reality, you can't do it all. And you talk about niches making riches.
Yes.
So how do you help people get their focus together? Because we do a lot with GovSales University. Like, people are like, I want to sell the government, but I don't know what to do. So how do you help them get that focus of what they could be selling?
Definitely I want to piggyback off of what you're saying, though, with networking, because that's key in the marketing process.
Yeah.
So understanding what a contracting officer is, or procurement is, or the buyer, decision makers. Mm-hmm. All right. When we talk about 93% of government contracts go to companies that are actively marketing, right? Okay, who are you marketing your business to? Contracting officers, agencies, procurement departments, and stuff like that. What is a contracting officer? A contracting officer is someone that's sworn in to modify a contract, execute a contract, or terminate a contract on behalf of the government of the United States.
Yep.
So clearly, that's who I need to be marketing my business to, is the decision makers, which is public information. The same as a contracting officer or purchase agent assigned to every solicitation, every contract out there. 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times, they're over more than just that particular solicitation. So that's how I aggregate information, because I feel like when I'm looking at an opportunity and I say, you know what, I can't do it, I don't feel like I lost time. I pull important information from it, which is the contracting officer's name, email address, contact, so I can repurpose that and market my business to them. I may not go for that actual opportunity, but I can say that I can market my business, let them know what I have going on. These people are working a 9 to 5, so they forgot you after lunch, okay? And they got you after happy hour on Friday. So you have to stay in front of their face constantly, every day, all day. It's okay to nag someone that has to buy from you, right? So I wanted to make that point right there. So to go into your answer, understanding from government contracting on a level of federal level, their goal is to stimulate the small businesses that reside throughout the United States. This is our way of stimulating our economy. Small businesses won't run this world, right? So on a state, city, county level, their job is to stimulate their economy with small businesses that reside there in your city, in your state, or in your county. They can't do that, or they can't spend money with the small businesses that's in your city if they don't know you exist.
Yep. Yeah, the government, people feel like the government is like this big bureaucracy, and it is at 100,000 foot level, but at a micro level, it's just people. It's just you and I, and you're so right. Like, we've had a bunch of government procurement folks on, and they're dying for more vendors, right? They're like, they need to buy something. They Google, like, who's local. And like, so people feel like, oh, the government, we had somebody who asked about the candy bars, because Steven mentioned the show. You give away the candy bars, people were like, they would just go right to Hershey and buy it. No, they don't. They do just like
Brad Lee. I think that was Brad Lee's podcast that you're on.
That's a great point you made, Jack, is that the reason why they just can't go to Hershey's and purchase, that's where the other niche came from. I've seen a government buy Samsung products, G-Tech products, all right, out-of-box products all the time. And I'm like, why are they putting this stuff out for solicitation? They can just purchase from these from these manufacturers, why they had to purchase from a small business. And I realized, it clicked to me. I said, they're not small business. Small business in most, industry standard codes is less than 49 employees, generate under $25 million a year. And I'm like, that damn sure is not Samsung or Panasonic, right? Or any of those big Fortune 500 companies. So I said, let my company become an authorized reseller of these major brands. So now I'm labeled as a small minority-owned business that's an authorized reseller of products that y'all purchase all the time. So come shop with your boy.
Hey, but I got something. So taking it back, right? Let's go back to Global Connect. So I know we talked a little bit, right? We want to start with the capability statement. Let's keep it to a page. But like, what other types of services do you typically provide?
The services I provide for is to the government or to clients?
To clients.
Okay.
Well, both. Why don't you do both?
Well,
It sounds like, you also sell them stuff directly. Why don't you
we
both?
sell tissue, paper products. We sell straps, hand sanitizer, gloves, masks, electronics from we're authorized reseller with Otterbox, Samsung, Panasonic. So we offer those different type of products, and we have some great relationships with manufacturers too. That's the key thing in relationships. Is not just on the government side, but on the manufacturer distributor side. So I just came back from Las Vegas for the Retail Supply Expo they had out there, and I met with some dope manufacturers and distributors of some dope products that I know I can resell. So I create wholesale accounts and I create resale accounts with them and create this establishment to where that I can be the pretty much the solidified middleman to facilitate the opportunities to these different government agencies using my status as a small minority-owned business. So that's one part. To helping out businesses, we actually do the procurement process. We do the paperwork process, which means that I understand your niche, so I can help you get rich. I understand your core competencies. I understand your values. I understand what you can execute at a high level, right? And we aggregate all the information, right? Dope part is I trained the team out in India to be able to do all the procurement process of government contracting. So they know how to identify the customer, create the profile, and then know how to aggregate all the proper opportunities from federal, state, local, city, county contracts, right? We able to narrow it down to your niche and find out what government agencies spend the most money for your services or products. And that's who we penetrate, right? So it's all about results with me because that's how we get paid. We get paid on the back end.
Yeah.
Right? So my saying is that we don't eat what we kill, we eat what we grow. Because every day we're planting seeds. We're planting seeds because we're trying to nourish something. We're trying to grow something, right? Can't grow too much. You're trying to kill everything. I want to grow my relationships, right? So that's what I implement into my customers, to my clients, is to focus on growth. All right, this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is something that's never going anywhere. So focus more on understanding government contracting procurement process, because this is a longevity game. During the war, during the pandemic, during the recession, the government is going to be spending even more money, right? So follow the process of procurement. Certifications is great, but it is just icing on the cake, right?
Yeah.
Certification doesn't guarantee you a government contract. And, through that, I get people that reach out, say, I have a women-owned business, or I have a disabled veteran-owned business. And I'm like, what kind of business do you have? You say you own women? That doesn't make sense. Lead your business with your service or your products.
Right.
And then the icing on the cake, seal a deal with your certifications that create those opportunities. Yep. Hey, my name is Hamza Sabree. We're Global Connects. We provide janitorial service and janitorial products to different government agencies across this map on a federal, state, local level. By the way, we're minority certified, we're small business certified, we're disadvantaged business enterprise certified. Like, that is the upsell. Yeah. Right? Close the deal, but you got to get in the deal with your actual niche, not your certification. Certification don't guarantee you no business.
It's like being on the GSA. You're like, you're on it. That's not okay. That's just part of the fun.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is if you do get on a GSA or a state contract or a cooperative agreement, which a lot of local agencies buy off of, that's huge to avoid the bid and RFP process. Yeah. But you still have to fulfill whatever they need, product, services, and those categories. And I love what you're saying, Hamza, about the farmer mentality. I give that analogy a lot as well. Planting seeds and watching them grow.
Right.
Government sales is about relationships. We all know that on here, and everyone watching. It's very important because that contract that you win, it's not one and done. They're cyclical creatures. So 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, whatever it is, that after they buy that or need that, that could be a customer for the next 30 years. And that's what keeps your business afloat.
Yeah.
Now you have 10 of those, right? You put in the work, you build it up, and then you can sustain, right? And that's really the thing about growing your company, is that the government is one of the best clients to work with, because once you get in there and do good work, they don't need to go shopping anymore. It's one of those things that the hardest part is getting your foot in the door and knowing what to do. And that's why we're here today, to talk to you and help you, get cross that bridge, as you said it.
So that's a great point. I got three principles that I give to my clients, students, and stuff like that. Is honesty, integrity, and smart work. You need to have these three things so you can stay in business, never go out of business, always have business. Honesty, integrity, and smart work. So you have honor in your price, right? You have integrity, that you're going to do what you said in those terms and conditions of that contract, and you're going to get the work done with smart work. So that's what I install into all of my clients, students, is honesty, integrity, and smart work, because that is what the government wants, and they actually speak on that type of language within the FAR.
So you mentioned a FAR again with the federal. So as far as that, that's federally focused. As far as state and local government, that's why I wanted to break it down and see what you recommend people start out with trying to get into government sales, right? Because I feel like all these different agency types, schools are agency. I talk to people on the phone. I say, "What do you sell?" I work with the University of Texas, and they don't consider that a government agency. But I'm like, it's publicly funded. That you do work with the government. So as far as starting out, what agency type do you think is the most easiest to get a deal with?
I say start in your own backyard. You talk about federal is about $600-700 billion a year, but you talk about city, state, county opportunities over a couple $1 trillion a year being spent. So starting in your own backyard. So understand what government agencies are in your city. You have a police department, fire department, you have hospitals, you have colleges, universities, you have public school systems, you have city hall, you have the court system, you have county jails and local jails. Like, these are the ideas of government agencies, and they have purchasing departments. Yep. Purchasing departments are where they're purchasing everything from services to products and goods. Yep. So I would definitely advise starting in your own backyard, so you can create the relationships in your own city and your own county. Understand that process there, and then work your way and duplicate that in other city states across this map.
Steve, did he go to GSU?
Hold on, Jack, because listen, everybody gets blinded by the multi-million-dollar federal contracts. It's like, of course you want the money. Why wouldn't I want to win $10 million?
Hamza, I'm sorry for what's about to happen. Steven's gonna stalk you and follow. Now you're like this. You'll be like, Steven.
I wouldn't know Hamza's got like 30,000 YouTube video followers and everything. Teach us that. That is incredible.
Steven's gonna be low. He'd be like, who's the guy, Steven? He's like, he'll be on your bushes. He'll be outside of your house. Like, Hamza.
No.
I mastered the low-hanging fruit. That's what I like to call it.
Yeah.
Certain opportunity that's under $20,000, that's what I like to get. I'll get purchase orders for $500, $1,200, $1,500, all in 1 week from different government agencies, not bidding on anything. Yep. And we're going to kill it in value from there. You don't have to go for the big old pie. That was my niche, or that was my strategy, was let's stay under this certain threshold so you don't have to compete, right? You could be doing business, and we're just going to kill it in value. And the profit margins are normally higher on those micro purchases.
Yeah. Can you, you mentioned pre-show, we're obviously at the end of the fiscal year for the federal government. So just want to share a little knowledge about that.
Yeah. So the federal government, they have this spending time frame of October to October. That's the fiscal year for the government. Yes, not fiscal like my muscles, but fiscal like FISCAL. Right, so they have to spend this money in this time frame in order to get a new budget or a new increased budget for the next fiscal year. So my strategy, when I get closer to the end of the fiscal year, I go higher in my profit margins.
Yeah,
because I'm helping them clear out the books.
Yep.
Normally in the beginning of the year, we get a little bit more competitive, more aggressive to get the work. But when we get closer to the end of fiscal year, we're doubling up on our margins.
Look, it's so funny. Look, we do shows on user lose, and inevitably we get blowback, from the folks in there's no user lose. We have a network within the government, and in the contractor side. See, as soon as we start talking about user lose, we're like, no, that doesn't exist anymore. That's some old school stuff, and you're like, Come on, it's like dealing with law enforcement. It's like, I don't have a ticket book I'm trying to get rid of. It's just some stereotype.
Yeah,
like,
there's more pullovers at the end of the month every month. You know they're trying to get to the quota.
Like, bro, yeah. So yeah, for
the fiscal year.
Yeah. So for our audience, at the end of the fiscal year, typically, it's really interesting in the government world. They get budgets. They get, they get a certain amount of money beginning of the budget year, which again, the federal government will start here on October 1st. And when they get now, they're at the end of the year, the government has this weird old school mentality of like, if you didn't spend it, that means you're running a really efficient department, and you don't get that much next year. And so they take old school, they take that little extra that you really would normally turn back in and go, I ran a good department, I'm being very fiscally responsible, and they go, oh, well, you know what? Then your division doesn't need that next year, and they cut your budget. So it's such a weird, freaky thing on the government side. So, Hamza, any last advice for our audience, and then how can they get a hold of you directly and deal with Global Connects?
My last thoughts would be, my saying that I love to say is small steps towards the big goal every day. All right, when you're trying to tackle this big goal, it can get overwhelming, create anxiety, like how I'm going to get to this big goal that I want to get to. And that's simple when you just break down. I have today to serve and grow and make the best out of my 24. That's the thing, right? So, what small steps can I do today to learn to get me to where I need to get to? And you do that every day. I call it compound goal interest, because once you do small steps towards the big goal every day, for the next 60 days, you look up and say, wow, I accomplished a lot. So focus on what you can do today. And then the next day, focus on what you can do today. Max out your potential. Max out the best value that you have in yourself, and it's not hard, I like to simplify everything. My saying is that nothing is rocket science, but rocket science.
Yeah. I love what you said earlier too. You're like, you mixed in like, hey, the budget process, you can win things really quickly. It doesn't have to be so complex. I love that sentiment, because folks, again, get so intimidated by the process. And I think your ability to like help them, their short-term wins, you help them do the paperwork, is huge, right? It's so, if you just jump in and kind of start the process, and you mentioned like, hey, we try to say it really carefully, because people only hear what they want to hear. If you say, hey, don't just jump into the government game and think it's a short-term win. There are short-term wins. It doesn't have to be a year, but the government's going to spend $7 trillion plus as long as we're all alive. And unless it hits the crapper, it's going to be it's still going to be trillions of dollars. So it's the long game, because they're going to keep what customer are you chasing that's going to spend guaranteed $5, $6, $7 trillion next year? You know what I mean? And so folks getting in the market, it is, if you look at it as a marathon, huge opportunity, right? And that's what your company's about and what you've been doing. You figured it out. God bless.
Yes.
I know we flashed some stuff. Can you tell folks how to get a hold of you? What's the best way to connect? And,
you can follow us on Instagram, Global Connects, or you can follow our other page, Global Leader _. We offer a 5-day boot camp to government contracting. We do it once every month. You have to qualify. We take about 25 students a month, and we go through a real understanding from federal, state, local procurement, and how to procure, how to do the paperwork process, how to do business with the government, not just get contracts, but do business with them.
You have a couple of books too. I think we have the graphic form. You have a couple of books out there, right?
Yes, I got an ebook, How to Win in Your Own City, right? It shows steps of how to tap into government contract opportunities, and it also shows how to get no bid contracts. It comes with a 3-hour webinar that I break down that book also. The bid workbook, something that we just released out, is dope. It actually helps you do bid analysis correctly, so you can understand the scope of the work, understanding all of the perfect, important things out of the solicitation that you need to keep, because most people don't like to read 100, 200 pages solicitation. So in that bid workbook, it actually gives you a checklist and a guide to what information is important out of that solicitation, so you can save time and be administrative savvy.
Bro, it's so good. Listen, I doing this for a year and a half now and spending most of my career, not a lot of folks talking about things being dope related to the government. So love that part. Love it. Like, you just mix that in some of the things, you know what I mean? You might land, you got to, I guess, depends who's getting it, but I love that part. We add a little real world flavor to what's happening to the government. Amen. Cool. Thanks, bro. Any last words you leave for the audience? Any last sentiments?
Small step towards the big goal every day. When you focus on government contracts, identify your business first. Identify your niche first. Identify your core competencies first.
Amen.
Right? Then let's go to our customer that you already know about. They spend all the money every year. Right? So I'm not creating, I hate to create a system just like you're going to miss out doing business with the government. You're not. It's not going anywhere. Right?
Yes.
So just focus on what your business can actually execute, right? And scale up appropriately, because using the government is a great tool to scale your business up tremendously.
Yes.
But focus on understanding the procurement process.
Yes.
That's key. Understanding the paperwork process and knowing how to strategically come up with your price based off what your customer wants. Because your customer is different between your customer calling you on the phone and say, hey, I need 100 cups or 100,000 paper cups. But it's different when your customer is writing it out, saying we need these 100,000 cups in this size, this width, these specs. And you have to understand it on paper so you can respond back with the correct pricing that makes sense to the actual contract. So contract analysis is the most important thing in this game, to me, my opinion.
Hamza Sabree, thank you so much for your time and energy, bro. God bless you. Good luck at the end of the fiscal year. Do big things, crush the market. And we'll definitely have you back. We need a little energy up in this joint.
Awesome. I love that.
Once we talk about government too many weeks in a row, you're in the roundabout mix coming back. Amen.
Awesome.
Thanks for your time. Stay safe. God bless. Appreciate you being on the show. Peace. I think it's the thing I love, people in the government world get so wrapped around the freaking axle. They're like, I'm an SGA, I'm a small business, I'm a whatever they are. And you're like, that's the third part, the second part. Like, what the hell do you do? Like, people they get so wrapped up in the logistics. They're like, we're a small business, we're a minority owned business, we're, And you're like, what? No, but what do you do? I love that part. So
how can you help me? I love his part at the end. It goes back to that saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Right. Not that you ever want to eat an elephant, right? But he's like, do something every day towards your goal.
I haven't heard that one.
You haven't heard of that? How do you know?
I don't know.
It seems impossible. You can't eat an elephant.
I don't know what happened. I just don't know.
One bite at a time. It's an old saying, right? Now you know it.
Kelly, mark this file. We're just going to mark this one. Oh, he's gone. They kicked him out. Oh, mark this show.
But do something every day, towards your goal. Like, it might seem like a big one, but if you just knock it off little by little, that's how you chop down a tree. You can use any analogy, one axe swipe at a time, it'll fall.
Oh, Lord. Jay, any last words from today?
I mean, I learned a lot of new things, but Steven definitely contributed to my knowledge today.
Steven definitely pitched in. Appreciate you, Steve. You want to roll one more pitch out for your webinar on the 22nd?
Yeah, 22nd. It's going to be, 2 weeks away? 3 weeks?
Yes, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. We're going to do it. It's going to be a Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern. This is our time slot. So if you're joining us on the GovCast, we'll be having a webinar that day. Completely free to attend. We're also going to be talking about free resources, some free, some paid. We want to help you out wherever you're at in the journey, right? So you want to try to get a GSA contract, there's resources to do that. We just don't want to see people get burned out there, because there's this huge market out there. So we want to help steer you in the right direction. So weigh it out, this side, depending on where you're at. So you can walk away, spend about a half hour, an hour with us and do it. Thank you for the analogy. Someone's got my back there.
Oh, no, not encourage
He's just being nice.
Not encourage
nice. I get beat up over here.
He saw you dying on the vine. Listen, thanks so much. Let's make sure we add Global Connects to our list of vendors next week too. Let's not forget that little ad. And so, for all you sports fans out there, we know the football hiatus ends tomorrow night. So, first game tomorrow night. Important game Monday night. Ravens in Vegas. First game in Vegas. Oh, Ravens Super Bowl back in the day. Amen. Been a long time. It'd be nice if we could repurpose that. Wife got me a Lamar Jackson. Oh, hold on.
Ooh.
Making big things happen. Look, my wife's making big things
happen. Is this a
happen.
20-year anniversary gift?
Yes. It's my Ravens, all the Super Bowl. Look, got Lamar. Let's see if he can win a title.
How cool.
Yeah, that was my gift this morning. Rolled out to that. It's funny because Lamar's not on the other side of that football, but hopefully that signature one day matches my.
You gotta put it in the glass cube.
I gotta get one. Match my Joe Flacco football. So let's just see if we can put a Super Bowl behind that. So, all right. Well, listen, appreciate everybody. Dre, good luck recovering from your accident. Hopefully Whip doesn't have any bad stories. Steven, I don't know. Good luck getting settled. We'll see you all next week back on the show.
Yeah.
Hamza, great job today. Appreciate you. Good luck at the end of the fiscal year. Let's go get it. Oh!